Welcome back, and let's go across to Anindya Banerjee of Kotak Securities, who joins in with a sense on commodities. Now, Anindya, hi, thank you for joining in. And the first conversation clearly has to be on metals. With the way we've seen prices rise for the last couple of sessions, what would you say? Is it more to do with fear, or would you say that the demand seems to be improving as well?
Yeah, thank you for having me, Manisha, and a very good afternoon. Yes, metals have been rising on the back of hopes that China will be able to push through more stimulus. And the weak dollar is definitely helping, because the way the dollar index has fallen over the past 1 week and it is simply not stopping, that is also contributing to what we are seeing in copper, zinc, and aluminium.
But Anindya, would you call it a weekly phenomena, the way we've seen it happen in last couple of sessions, or do you think the tables have turned, or would you still say it's going to be cautious, depending on the kind of statements we hear from US or China for that matter?
Sure. See, copper has a strong tailwind because in the LME, we are seeing a strong rise in the cancel warrants. So copper prices can rise towards $10,000, and that's around, let's say, 900 rupees on the MCX. Aluminium has a tailwind because we are seeing consistent decline in the LME inventory. But zinc could be more range bound. So yes, copper, aluminium could continue to rise. Some positive news from China would be helpful, and of course, a weaker dollar. But zinc may find it difficult to climb much.
So, I've been reading a few reports, Anindya, and many of them suggest that the next 2 to 3 months can be quite bullish. And the reports do suggest that 8 to 10% of a rise in many of these metals that you mentioned could be seen therein. Are you equally bullish, and for that time frame?
Yes, over the next 1-2 months, yes. But we have to keep one thing in mind, Manisha, that the trade war between China and America is going to intensify. That was our house view since end of last year, since the US elections. And we expect the trade war to escalate significantly in the coming days, because the America First policy of Donald Trump is basically puts it at a clashing point with China. So that can become a negative factor from time to time for commodities. But as of now, next 1-2 months, it looks bullish.
And they also come in on steel, because China has spoken about steel restructuring. And while they have been talking about cutting steel output for many years now, 1 billion tons is what they've been producing for the last 3 years. 50 million tons of an output cut is what they're talking about. How does that impact prices?
See, the steel is completely dependent on China, absolutely. But as I said, right now the sentiment is positive across metals. So steel prices can see some upside. But once the next leg of trade war picks up, which I think is going to happen in a couple of months' time between China and America, that could be the time when the metal, including steel, can come under pressure.
All right. Let's also talk about the crude oil prices, because that clearly has been a joyous decline for the Indian markets, because the way we've seen many of those companies react, whether it has been about OMCs or paint companies. But the kind of decline that crude prices have seen, 7% of a decline in last 1 week, which is 6 or 7 trading sessions. How would you look at these current prices? And are you also looking at further decline from here on?
Yeah, we have been structurally bearish on crude for the simple reason that we are seeing the demand picture is simply not picking up. No matter how much the OPEC continues to put out very rosy projections, those numbers are simply not met. And at the same time, there is clear emphasis on increasing supply, be it from US, be it from OPEC. So the overall picture in crude is negative, but the only supportive factor at this point is geopolitics, because Ukraine theater is closing, it seems like, but at the same time, the Iran and Israel thing is not yet concluded. So that can come and bite the markets. But otherwise, the overall story on crude is downward. It looks a bit oversold in the near term, because $65 in the past 3.5 years has always been the floor, and we have seen the prices bounce back in WTI back to $70. So maybe some technical bounce over the near term, but we expect prices to finally head lower towards $60 in the coming months.
And then also, how would you look at the precious metals then? And while we have seen a good safe haven buying come in for gold prices in much of second half of 2024-25, absolutely. At these current levels, the rally does seem a bit tiring. We haven't, while there has been a conversation about $3,000, it doesn't really seem to be getting there.
Yeah, exactly. Because for gold, if you look at the COMEX positioning of speculators, it's at a record high. So that is what is stopping the gold prices from climbing. Because if everybody is bullish, it becomes difficult for the market, no matter how much strong the overall fundamental theme is, to push higher. So around, let's say 29, 40, 50 levels, the spot gold is getting stuck. So we could actually see silver prices now catch up to gold. We have seen that happen over the past one trading session. So we could actually see silver catch up and move higher. So if I have to bet between gold and silver, I would rather bet on silver and expect it to move towards $33.50, eventually towards $35. As gold, basically, it moves up, but it moves up in a slower manner.
Oh, well, absolutely. Silver really seems to be outperforming at this point in time. It actually is between silver and copper on how we stand year to date in sense of many of these commodities, between 14 to 16% of gains coming in for both of these commodities. And as Anindya says, it's a buy call across commodities, at least for next couple of months, and absolutely for silver there. Anindya, thank you so much for joining in with your sense on all of those commodities. With that, we go for a break. But on the other side, Business Lunch will take all the action forward.